Have you seen the difference between a purchased texture paste and a homemade texture paste? I'm going to show you my updated recipe for texture paste. Now this texture paste works really well. If you've ever gone to buy some texture paste from the shop, like something like 𝘀𝘀𝘀𝗀's, you're going to get a shock because this is a really expensive product. But this one here is really, I reckon it's pretty cheap to make. If you buy a bulk craft white glue like this, you can get this for a couple of dollars at your cheap shop, whether it's a dollar shop or a reject shop if you're in America or Australia. So this is pretty cheap, and I've had this for ages and it's still got plenty in it. So it's just a PVA glue. So acrylic paint you can buy quite cheaply as well. In Australia, Aldi, this was $1.99. So you can get a tube of white paint. You can also go to an artist supply shop and buy a big tub. So acrylic paint you can buy quite cheaply as well. And baby powder, if you can get this on sale, buy it on sale. I use the old version of the baby powder, and there is a difference. The old version has talc in it. They no longer make this. The new version has cornstarch in it. So it doesn't really matter whether you use the old version or the new version. This one here I made with the talc, and the one I'm going to make today I'm going to use the cornstarch. If you don't have any baby powder, just grab your kitchen cornstarch and use that. Now to make this up is so quick and easy. You just need an empty jar, you need a 1/4 cup and a tablespoon. I don't use a spoon to stir, I use a flat stick. This is a bone folder, and that's because everything gets sort of stuck in the spoon, so a flat stick is good. I'm going to use a 1/4 cup of the baby powder, and that just goes into your jar. Then we're going to add a tablespoon of the everyday white glue. You'll find that some of the glue gets left behind in the spoon. Just push that out with your stirrer. Now we need some white paint. Nice heaped tablespoon. Get that in there too. And just stir it up. And this is where you'll see that it's much better using a flat object than it is a spoon. Now it's a thick mixture. Now you want it reasonably thick, because if you don't, when you put it through your stencil, it's not going to stay raised. If you make this too wet, it'll just flatten out when you put it through your stencil. If it's wet, it'll just collapse. So get it really well stirred and nice and smooth. And I'm going to just let it dollop off my stirrer, and it's not even coming off, right? So that is a little tiny bit too thick. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of the white paint to this. And I'll show you how much I'm adding. I'm not adding very much. Around about a teaspoon. And I can pretty well tell that's going to be enough. And that's it. Your texture paste made. You've got to keep it in a well-sealed jar. This will keep for 3 to 4 months, but it's a very small amount. Like, it's not that much. It's only about that much, because I've just made a mess up the side of the jar. But you've got about that much texture paste in there. And if you're not crafting a lot, if you're not doing a lot of stenciling, this is going to last that long. But if you are going to do a lot of stenciling, you're going to use this up pretty quick. But that's just going to, see how it's just dripping very slowly? And that's pretty much how you want it. You don't want it to be really, really wet. But if you go to stencil with that and you find that it's a little bit thick, just add a ½ teaspoon or a teaspoon of the white paint again, and just a little bit at a time, because really if you make it too wet, then you'll come back in and add some more powder and you'll be forever coming backwards and forwards. So just a little bit of white paint goes a long way. Now we're ready to test our homemade texture paste with a couple of stencils. This is the stencil result that I used yesterday with the texture paste using the old-fashioned baby powder. And this texture paste is the newer version of the baby powder with the cornstarch in it. So we'll use the same stencils. I'll put this one here. So I'm just using a artist palette knife, and I'm just scraping all one way from the top down to the bottom, and then just lift it up. Now that's a little bit thicker than the paste I made yesterday, but you can see that it's raised and it's not runny at all. Now I'll do this one here, and I'll put it over here. Using the back of the palette knife, I'm just going to scrape over my stencil. Going all one way. My stencil's a bit bent there. It's a bit messy there because my stencil is damaged. This one here is an 𝗀𝘀𝗀𝗃 stencil. It's more made for furniture, but it works really well on the paper as well. So I'll just put that one here. And of course, if I was using this on one of my projects, I would mask out any edges, so I wouldn't do that. But the homemade texture paste works really, really well. So that's yesterday's, all dry. Now I don't use a heat tool to dry my texture paste. I always leave it to air dry. So just walk away now, leave it to air dry, go and find something else to do, clean up. You just clean up in water. You don't need any special things to clean up in water. I did have a question yesterday about cleaning up in the sink and about this product going down the drain with glue in it. If you are worried about that, what I do is I make sure I scrape off the product and I wipe off the main part off my tool, and there's not a real lot left on the tools to clean up. There's hardly any on my hands to clean up. I clean that up in I do clean this up in my sink because there's so little on it, but the question was, you know, if you don't want it to go down your sink, grab half a bucket of water, clean this up in a bucket of water, and then discard that water outside somewhere. Do the same for cleaning up your stencil. That way you've got minimal texture paste going anywhere. There's hardly any on the back, and then your cleanup is minimal. I'm just going to use this stencil here in the corner just to show you the difference between these stencils here and the shop bought stuff. So this is the 𝘀𝘀𝗀𝗃's, and see how it's pretty thick as well. It's probably as thick as the one I just made. So I'm just going to go across the corner here as the same as I did before. Oops, I've got something on my bench. So you can see the results from the homemade texture paste and the store-bought texture paste is so close. I mean, this is a lot cleaner, but Honestly, for what we do when we start covering this over with paint and colours and distress ink and gluing tissue paper over the top, you do not need to spend the money on the expensive texture paste. I mean, really, 𝘀𝘀𝘀𝗍's is one of the best products out there. You'll go a long way to make a homemade product as good as 𝘀𝘀𝘀𝗀's. So give the homemade texture paste a go, and if you've got any suggestions for cleaning up the tools, your stencils and your palette knife, just leave a comment below so that everybody who's watching this video can get some tips from you, and I'd love to know your ideas as well. Ciao for now.